let's begin standing at the top of our mat. Take a look down at your feet, making sure both sets of toes are pointing towards the top of your mat, underneath your hips. And then if you're comfortable, go ahead and close your eyes or just take a soft gaze. Let the arms relax down alongside your hips initially. Maybe fingers curl in even. And then maybe take a moment to notice where your weight is distributed over those feet, outside of the feet, inner arches of the feet, towards the toes or the heels. See if you can find yourself centered, and it's natural and normal to feel your body constantly fluctuating, shifting a little bit or almost a little sway. And then start to maybe spread the toes wide if you've got that ability. If you wear shoes all the time, or especially if you wear high-heeled shoes, we tend to lose a bit of that strength in the toes. So if that does not feel good, just keep feet as they are. Otherwise, kind of spread the toes and press those down into the mat. Feel how that really engages, fires up the muscles in the feet. And then, so you're pushing down into those, also push down into those heels. Imagine as though you're leaving an indentation. You're making a footprint into the mat. And that automatically starts to work the ankles, the lower legs, put a bit of softness in the knees. So never in our practice do we lock out the kneecaps. There's always a little bit of bend, a little bit of softness give to the knees, especially if you have the ability to hyperextend your limbs. You're going to make sure that you keep those slightly bent instead. And then shift awareness up into the hips, the pelvis. Tuck that tailbone slightly. It's not pushing the weight forward, hips forward, pushing the weight up into the toes, the feet. It's just tucking the tailbone. So it's a lower abdominals pulling up and in, tailbone dropping, pointing a little more towards the earth. And then from there, feel yourself lift up through the ribs, the chest. Press those shoulder blades just slightly back behind you, opening up into what I like to call a proud chest. Lifting all the way up through the crown of your head, getting as tall as you possibly can. And then start to activate the arms. Start to stretch down through those fingertips. Spread fingers wide, just like the toes. And then maybe spin the thumbs out towards the sides, pinkies in towards the hips. Maybe press the backs of the hands just slightly back towards behind you or towards that back wall if you're indoors. Couple of breaths there. And we want to be engaging a lot here, but not so much that we're restricting the movement through the abdomen. We want to be able to find deep diaphragmatic belly breaths. So notice where your breath is at. As always, if it's comfortable, breathing in and out through just the nose. But if that's just not a good option, maybe there's some congestion going on or you start to get winded, breathe however you need to. But see if you can bring the breath so deep, engaging the diaphragm that it pushes down into the belly, and then it rises up into your ribs and rises up into your chest. As you exhale, feel all of that just relax back and in towards the spine. A few breaths there. And then if it feels good with your shoulders, with your arms, continue to spin the thumbs all the way back towards the back, pinkies towards the front. And then we'll inhale, sweep, reach both arms up towards the sky. Take a moment to just extend as tall as you possibly can. And then exhale, let's let just the right arm come back down, palm towards that right hip, keeping the left arm extended up towards the sky. And then maybe start to tip over towards the side. Stretching through that left side. Deep breaths, nice side body stretch. The head can tip as well, creating a crescent moon shape. Maybe the hips shift, weight a little bit towards the left to help balance out the weight of the torso. And then as you inhale, straighten that left arm all the way back up to the sky. Go ahead and exhale, release the left palm towards the left hip. We'll inhale, right arm back up towards the sky, and then start reaching it over towards the left side, creating a crescent moon shape there. And again, let hips help balance you out there. Breathing deep into that right side of the body. On your next inhale, we'll straighten that back up. Exhale, release that palm down alongside the right hip. And then we'll go ahead and connect the palms together at the center of the chest. If you haven't already blinked your eyes open, go ahead and do so. And then we're going to take a deep breath in, go ahead and extend those hands up towards the sky. As you exhale, sitting back into our chair. So either keeping arms extending out from the shoulders as you sit back into that chair, or if it feels better, palms at the chest. Prayer position. And we want to keep those knees tracking right in line with the toes, the ankles, so knees don't collapse in. And we also are trying to keep those maybe in line with the toes or maybe even behind the toes. And then tucking that tailbone there. A lot of engagement there. If it feels better to come up higher out of that chair slightly or to come all the way out, as always, all of our poses we can totally modify or make our way out of. As you inhale, go ahead and extend up. If palms are at the chest, let's reach those arms back towards the sky. Exhale, sweep the hands apart, folding down towards the mat into our first forward fold. We'll take a few moments in forward fold to maybe sway it around, maybe kind of bend one knee more than the other a few times. And then we're going to see if it feels good to bring just that micro bend in the left knee, deep bend in the right knee. We're going to bring right fingertips or right palm right underneath the face. So that can definitely be up on a support, a block. And then if it feels okay, we're going to inhale left arm, extending up towards the sky, twisting towards the left. Gaze wherever it feels best with your neck. So it might follow up towards the sky, or it might be to the side. It might be connecting down to the mat, helping with your balance there. One more deep breath in, really reach up through those left fingertips as you exhale. Unwind that twist, maybe kind of bend each knee a few times, sway it around. Once that feels complete, we will take just the micro bend in the right knee, deep bend in the left knee, and then fingertips or palm on the left hand. And then inhale, right arm up towards the sky, twisting towards the right. Pausing to breathe here again. Sometimes the gaze naturally wants to come up towards the sky, but if that brings a lot of strain into the neck, or if you feel it pulling in the jaw, maybe look to the side or down to the mat. One more deep breath in, really reach and twist as you exhale. Unwind, again, give yourself a moment to kind of move it, sway it around a little bit. And then we'll place those fingertips or palms down to the mat or to our supportive block or blocks. And then we'll go ahead and step the left foot back through our high lunge on that right side. We're going to pause in this high lunge, holding it here. So at any point it feels best to release the left knee, come down to a low lunge. You can do that, or you can come out to downward facing dog, child's pose, or even forward fold. So whatever option feels best. If high lunge is feeling like a good option, check in with that right knee. Make sure that it's maybe stacked above that right ankle, not coming out past the right toes. But left leg is so far back down the mat. Left leg is straight, maybe feeling that stretch in the front of that left hip and pressing that right heel back behind you as we are balancing up on the toes, the pad of that left foot. If your legs are feeling a bit fatigued for any reason, you can shorten that stance for sure. Just making sure right knee does not come out past the toes. And then pressing down, make that indentation with that right foot. Inhale, sweep, reach the arms, the torso up towards the sky here a moment. Deep, deep breaths here. Extending just a little bit taller. And then as we exhale, let's release the left palm down to the mat to the inside of the right foot. And then inhale, twist right arm up towards the sky. Once again, moving back into our twist. The more we push into that right foot, the more we're going to stabilize, kind of lock in that pelvis so that low back stays protected, really working that twist across the abdomen, the obliques. Gaze again, maybe up towards the sky, or maybe it feels better towards the side or down towards the mat. One more deep breath in as you exhale. Go ahead and unwind that twist. Place both hands down to the mat. We're going to step or walk back to full or modified plank. So either knees lifted or knees down, but either way, shoulders stacked above those wrists. We can always switch to our fists if the wrists need a little extra support, taking that crease out of the wrist, that wrist hinge. We're going to pause there for a few breaths, squeezing the shoulders back towards the tailbone tucking under slightly, pushing those heels back towards that back wall if knees are lifted. And then whether knees are lifted or are connecting to the mat, imagine as though the heels are being drawn together, but we're resisting that, squeezing them apart. Deep breath as you exhale. We're going to come into downward dog. So we're going to either just press back into the palms or lift those knees, press back. Take a few moments to pedal out the feet, or if child's pose feels like a better option for you for a moment, feel free to take that. And then eventually we're going to make our way back to forward fold, whether you want to step, walk, or hop it back forward. Once we come to forward fold, let's inhale, come half high, slide the palms up the fronts of the shins, flatten the spine, exhale, folding back down deeply. And then this time we will make that indentation with the left foot, step right foot back, find that high lunge on that left side. And again, it's very important to find that strong, stable base. So take those moments to make sure the knee is supported. Maybe it's stacked right above the ankle, definitely not coming past those left toes. Right leg, if legs are not feeling fatigued, they're feeling great, really scoot those right toes, right pad of the foot back far, pressing that heel back, stretching through the front of that right hip. And then if you're feeling good with it, we're going to inhale, sweep, reach the arms, the torso up towards the ceiling. A few breaths there. Getting as tall as you possibly can through the spine, but still keeping hips low. Engaging those legs. Deep breath as you exhale, release the right palm to the inside of the left foot. And then with an inhale, twisting that left arm up towards the sky or ceiling. Breathing deep here. Again, we can push even more into that left foot to stabilize that pelvis. Maybe one more deep breath, really reach and twist. Exhale, unwind the spine, place those hands back down to the mat. We'll step or walk back to our full or modified plank once again. A few deep breaths here, and then we're going to move into side plank from here. So moving to the right side first. If you're in full plank, we're just going to roll to the outer edge of the right foot. If you are in modified, you're going to spin the right foot out to the side. That's our kickstand out behind us, now to the right side of the mat. And then left leg can straighten back down the mat. And either way, we're all opening that left arm up towards the ceiling. We're going to pause and breathe here, always knowing that fist is an option. It sometimes feels a little less stable, but safer on the wrist if your wrist is bothering you. And then maybe, whether you're in full or modified, maybe you want to float the left leg up towards the sky. Starfishing that pose. One more deep breath as you exhale. If left leg is lifted, lower it down. We're going to untwist. You can always release back to child's or downward dog for a moment or two. Or if you're ready, we're just going to switch sides, shifting over to the left palm or left fist, left outer edge of the foot, or that left knee, spinning the foot out towards the left side of the mat, right leg extending back. Right arm extends all the way up towards the sky. Energy in those right fingertips, spread the fingers wide. Maybe you want to inhale, lift that right leg up from the mat. Starfishing that pose, maybe for just a breath or two. As you exhale, release the right foot back down. We're going to go ahead and rotate back through full or modified plank. And now we all will press back to downward facing dog. Or again, if you need a little extra rest, a little extra time to catch your breath, release down to child's pose. Or maybe the wrists just need that release. A few deep breaths here. And then we're going to step walk or maybe hop those feet up to the hands to our forward fold. And then we are going to see if side crow feels like an option. So no worries if it does not. You can always hang down or come down and hang out in a yogi squat or hang out in a forward fold or downward dog. But we've done a bit of twisting today. So if you're wanting to come into that side crow or attempt that, the first thing we're going to do is actually Step both feet slightly over to the left, turn the toes out towards that left corner of the mat, so heels a little more to the center. And then we're going to see if we can come down into a squat on this side here. So once you come down to the squat, we'll kind of see which direction we end up facing, but we're going to bring palms down to the mat, hands shoulder distance apart. So let me say right away, if your wrists are not feeling great, go ahead and opt out of trying this side crow. So for side crow, I like to try to wedge the back of my right arm as low down on that right thigh as I possibly can, and kind of bring the side of the thigh as high up to the back of that left arm as I'm able. And then it's a matter of just kind of starting to tip the weight. There's going to be more weight naturally on the left hand, but we're tipping it more towards the right now. And then I like to attempt to lift the lower right toes first. See if those can float up, and then maybe we can also float the left toes up. This is a pretty challenging pose, so no worries if you're not able to find any lift there. Maybe you just kind of are working towards that twist. If you're able to lift up, breathing here, find that balance. Maybe one more deep breath, and then we're going to lower the feet back down to the mat. Let's go ahead and just straighten up to forward fold. We'll bring those feet back to the center of the mat. A couple breaths here. Feel free to move it, sway it, however feels good. And then let's step the feet slightly over to the right. Turn those toes to the right corner of the mat, heels slightly towards the center. And then see if we can squat down, bring that upper outer edge of the right arm against the outer left thigh. Again, however far down it can come. And then place those palms about shoulder distance apart, spread fingers wide, start to shift that weight. Maybe you can lift up the lower left toes from the mat. Maybe those upper right toes can float up from the mat. And maybe you're just playing around with that. There's no rush into this pose. As always, modify or just opt out. If you're holding it, just maybe one more full breath here. And then we'll place those feet back to the mat, come back up to forward fold, shift those feet back towards the center of the mat. And again, move it, sway it, however feels best. And then placing those feet hip distance apart, we'll inhale, sweep, reach the arms one more time up towards the sky, really extending up. Exhale, swan dive down into that forward fold. And then we're just going to see if ragdoll feels like a good option. We'll step or walk those feet out about to the edges of the mat. Put as much bend in the knees as always as it takes to feel good through the back. Maybe we keep hands connected down to the mat or to our support, or maybe it feels good to pick up those hands, bend to the elbow creases, interlace those, letting the torso hang. And then the first thing I usually like to do is just sway the torso side to side a little bit. Figure 8 the elbows a few times. Kind of stretching out the upper back, the shoulders, especially after that twist and that weight on the arms and shoulders. And then come back to neutral. Maybe nod the head as if you're saying yes. Turn it side to side as if you're saying no. Little circles with the head to the left. Little circles to the head with the right. Letting head come back to neutral. And if your spine is really feeling good, deep breath in as you exhale. Let your head hang just a little deeper. Let it just get heavier. Let go of that holding on. And then we'll bring those palms back down to the mat. Step, walk, or hop back to one more downward facing dog. Feel free to paddle out those feet one more time, and then we'll all release down to child's pose. Release the knees, untuck the toes. We're going to just pause and breathe here for a few moments. Letting the spine, the muscles of the back relax, especially after all of that twisting. And then slowly with an inhale, we will roll up to seated, and then I'm actually just going to have you flip right onto your back. Once you come onto your back, just hug those knees into the chest, maybe rock that side to side a little bit. And then we're just going to see if supine spinal twist feels like a good option. We're going to extend arms either straight out into a T, right out from the shoulders, or we can bend at the elbows, cactus arms. And then keeping knees lifted up towards the torso, we'll just rock those knees over towards the right side. As always in our spinal twist, our supine spinal twist, make any adjustments. Maybe we need to bring straightened arm underneath that right thigh, right shin or calf. Or maybe you want a deeper twist. We've done a lot of twisting. Maybe it feels good to wrap the left knee around the right instead, deepen that twist. And if it feels good, let your chin roll towards that left shoulder. And then here, allowing yourself to really start to soften and let go. Letting go of the resistance, letting go of the work, the striving. See if you can just let the legs get heavy. Let the arms get heavy. Relax the muscles of your face, your jaw. Maybe take a moment to kind of wiggle, stretch those around a little bit. Just one more deep breath in, exhaling it out, fully heavy body. And then as we inhale, we'll engage and unwind the spine, chin and knees back up towards the sky or ceiling. If you've crossed the left knee over, uncross, feel free to hug it in, rock it around. And then when you're ready, extend those arms back out either into T or cactus arms. Knees still towards the torso, and then we'll rock the knees over to the left side. And again, there we're going to make any adjustments, whether it's unwinding the twist slightly, maybe left arm straight and comes down underneath the outer left thigh and left calf or shin. Or maybe you want to wrap the right knee around the left. And then once you find where the lower body is feeling good in the twist, maybe it feels good to bring the twist up into the neck, the cervical spine, chin towards that right shoulder. Pausing here, relaxing. Maybe let the eyes come to close. Let them relax. Seeing if you can let go just a little bit more with each exhale. And then one more full breath, fully relaxing on that exhale. And then as you inhale, engage, unwind the chin, unwind the knees back up. Feel free to hug the knees in again, to rock that side to side a little bit. And then we'll lastly come down into our supine butterfly pose. So with bent knees, let the feet come to the mat. Let knees open out wide, soles of feet slide into touch. And then hands, arms, as always, wherever they most naturally feel comfortable. Sometimes that's resting on the body, above the body, or maybe out alongside the hips. And again, feel free to close the eyes. And noticing how this is feeling, always knowing we can make our way out early. Can you let the legs just get extremely heavy? Letting gravity open up through the center of the pelvis, the hips, those inner hip flexors. Can you let the backs of the shoulders melt back and down into the mat? Freeing up a little space across the chest to breathe. And again, check in with the muscles of your face and your jaw. We can always wiggle or stretch the face out. Maybe just 2 more full breaths here. And then we will slowly bring the knees back up. Feel free to hug the knees, to rock it around, take a last pose or stretch. You can always pause this. And then when you're ready, we will come down for final relaxation. And then we're going to move into relaxation next. So feel free to bring those knees back up, hug those in, and then coming down, however feels best as always for relaxation. If we need a bolster, a rolled blanket behind the knees, maybe we don't have those things. Maybe we need to keep knees bent, feet wide, inner knees resting against one another. Or maybe your back feels fantastic and you can just let those legs extend out straight with no support behind the knees. Feet to the corners of the mat, toes relaxing open wide. If you use an eye pillow, go ahead and place it over your eyes at this time. And then hands, arms, typically a few inches out alongside the hips, palms rolling up. And we'll do our usual walk through of our body, ensuring each and every part gets fully relaxed. I relax my feet and ankles. My feet and ankles are completely relaxed. I relax my shins, calves, and knees. My shins, calves, and knees are completely relaxed. I relax my thighs and hamstrings. My thighs and hamstrings are completely relaxed. I relax my hips and pelvis. My hips and pelvis are completely relaxed. I relax my hands and wrists. My hands and wrists are completely relaxed. I relax my forearms, elbows, and upper arms. My forearms, elbows, and upper arms are completely relaxed. I relax my upper back, middle back, and lower back. My upper, middle, and lower back are completely relaxed. I relax through my abdomen and ribs. My abdomen and ribs are completely relaxed. I relax through my chest and shoulders. My chest and shoulders are completely relaxed. I relax my neck, face, and jaw. My neck, face, and jaw are relaxed. My entire body is fully relaxed. My entire body is fully and completely relaxed. Slowly start to bring your awareness back in, starting with that sensation of breath, traveling in and just releasing back out. And then let awareness come to rest in the center of your palms, noticing any sensations there. And then bringing in your own sensations, starting to wiggle or stretch your fingers or your toes. And then that might eventually become a full body pencil stretch or just a hug of the knees into your chest, releasing any pressure in the low back. Once that feels complete, you can rock and rest on your right side. Right arm supporting the head, maybe knees curling in. Eyes can still be relaxed and closed. Take your time, but eventually when that feels complete, you can start to press yourself back up to whatever seated position feels most comfortable at this moment. As always, it doesn't have to be cross-legged, whatever feels good. And then hands and arms finding a place to settle and rest, whether that's up on the knees, The thighs are down in the lap. And taking a moment just to check in. How are you feeling at this moment? How is the body feeling? The mind? Maybe even the emotions. And then we'll go ahead and connect our palms together at the center of the chest, sealing our practice together. Thank you so much for joining me. It is always my honor to teach you. Namaste.